This mall in particular is not of glamour or gold, for it is showing its age, and its age is quite old. It's a dark place in spirit, many disheveled in pain, a Mad Max society with Nan's faces deep in cocaine. Teenage lovers walking into family toilets, I'd explain the irony, but that would just spoil it. What misfortune, what woe on me would befall as I entered to the work at the village mall. Not only did I work at the village, financially coerced, I worked in the cell phone kiosk in the food court, observing humanity at its worst. I served criminals and thieves and lowlives and such, but had to refuse service to a man bleeding too much. Maybe it was the blood in his eyes causing the red in his sight, but his response to me was, "Fuck you, buddy, we're gonna fight." As he stood there in rage, blood trickling down his face, I thought to myself, I think that's how we got in this mess in the first place. It was the day before Christmas, and the day was quite dead. We wished we were spending time with family instead. We watched the time tick, our toes rapidly tapping. When my coworker snapped, I just wish something would happen. As the words left his lips, we heard no commas nor business, but as if on cue, "Fuck you, missus!" All the way from the kiosk, we heard the racket and clatter. We sprang from the booth to see what was the matter. A lady stealing jeans right off the rack was asked to return them, but refused to give back. Instead of admitting the crime with dignity and grace, she looked at the 21-year-old nursing student who worked there and punched her in the face. The girl who was punched didn't even flinch. The holidays had already wore away at her inch by inch. She closed the gates to the store with a sinister glee, as if to say, "I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me." The lady scratched and she kicked at the gates and the bars, then shouted, "Let me out of here, let me out of here. My kids are in the car." She said she needed them because she loved them so dear, but she also locked them in the car in winter, so no mother of the year. The man I just sold a phone to now filming her vexation. "This camera quality is great, Mike. Thanks for the recommendation." When she punched the student, she acted so tough, but at the end of it all, she was let out in cuffs. I looked at my colleague, basked in a cheerful glow. "You wished for this, you wished for this. I know, I know." What happened next was a strange happening of sorts. A single snowflake fell through the village mall food court. We looked at the mall Santa, and he winked with a grin that was sly. Was he the real Santa Claus this whole time? As if answering the question he didn't hear us ask, he shouted, "Happy holidays to all!" and then finished his flask. Happy holidays, listeners, from us to you. Hello and welcome. My name is Mike Hammond.
I'm Sarah Walsh.
And this is Retails, a podcast all about retail restaurants and working horrible customer service jobs.
We would like to thank Right Good Studios for making us sound right good, and Arts NL providing funding.
How? This episode contains language and or content that is intended for very tired adults. Viewer discretion is advised. And now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome back, everyone, for a very special holiday rendition of Retails. Today, our guest is Mike Hickey.
Woo!
Thank you for coming, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Mike is a filmmaker, an author, a producer, presenter, and storyteller. In terms of the customer service jobs, there's a lot. Mike has worked in supermarket retail, burger fast food, video stores, bartending, serving, dinner theater serving, where he acted and served tables, call center for inbound calls, and a call center for outbound calls, hardware stores, and cell phone sales. Mike.
And clothing retail.
Clothing retail.
I forgot about that one. I blocked it out.
I was going to say that one was repressed, yes.
Yeah.
Mike, tell us about working in the cell phone stores at Christmas.
It was kind of crazy just because, it's also like, Christmas is, not only is it, your major gift giving holiday thing. It's also kind of like the tail end of the calendar year, so there's a lot of pressure for different like commission thresholds and things like that, so when you're getting into cell phone stuff, it gets particularly kind of hectic. And one of the things too is like, I don't know how much it's changed, but like at the time, almost 15 years ago that I did this, it was, the whole idea of upgrading your phone. Like a new phone will come out at Christmas, like in time for the holiday shopping season. That doesn't mean you're allowed to get it based on at the time, there was still 3-year contracts and stuff. So it was just, you were constantly juggling. You were constantly kind of juggling people's contracts and stuff to try to like help them get what they wanted for the holidays and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, it was kind of nuts because it was also, I worked for a third-party retailer for one of the, I would say in Newfoundland at the time, particularly the major cell phone provider. And all they wanted was new activations. They did not care about upgrades. I'm sure you know this from your time working similarly. I know we don't say like names and stuff of businesses for various reasons. We'll just refer to this place as Chime. And when I was selling cell phones for Chime, everybody in the province pretty much already had a Chime. If you had a cell phone, it was a Chime cell phone.
Yep, I remember that. Yep.
And they were like, cool, we want someone to get a new phone contract. I'm like, cool. They are already with you. Like everywhere else in the country, it was about moving from one of the other cell phone providers.
Yeah, poaching sales.
Yeah, you're poaching
customers.
Here, it didn't matter because everybody was already with that one company. So it was a bit of a mess when all they wanted you to do was just like add new contracts, and you're like, cool, there's nobody to add.
Yeah, it was like, but it's like I started working in cell phones 2012, and at that point, the market. It was saturated
because I finished in like November of 2011. So like we very much kind of
we just kind of traded off.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the sales targets were nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would have to, like if the previous month in November, you would have had to get, for depending on what store size you were, a certain amount. Like mine was like maybe 12 in November, but it was 27 in December.
Yeah.
It's like 27 new people aren't signing up for this.
Yeah.
Like they're already here.
And it's like, because it's like this weird algorithm where it's based on like what last year's sales at that time were, also
plus 10%, plus 10%, whatever,
plus what other places in the area are doing, plus what the competitors in the area are doing. It's like, well, the other cell phone providers are saying that they have this many new activations. It's like, yeah, because
they're all leaving
this
company.
Fed up with this, and they went to that, and they're now in a 3-year contract, so I can get them back in 2.5 years. But until then, I can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, the pressure to sell people things that they don't want or need, especially around Christmas time, always drove me nuts.
Oh, it's ludicrous. Like, I mean, it wasn't the same for me as you guys, but I worked at a video game store and we were pressured to sell warranties. And I don't want to brag, but mine was very, very high, largely because I was a live action woman. But like, we didn't get paid more or less depending on it. Like it would just be what color sticker is next to my name that week, which is awful. But like in December, they were expected to spike because your whole thing was like, oh, you're buying this game for your grandson and you know nothing about this or anything. Would I be able to sell you 15 add-ons that you do not need? And they're like, if Rodney needs it, I guess.
And
yeah, but like phones at Christmas time, like, oh yeah, you're gonna need a warranty on that. You're gonna need this $100 case. Oh, you're gonna need 4 charging cables.
Yeah, you want to be able to, like, when they open that up on Christmas morning, they want to be able to hit the ground. Also, like, it's a phone, so it has to be activated and stuff. So like, it's just there and existing before Christmas. It's such a weird thing. But the one that always got me too about like, and I think the biggest problem I ever had with retail sales is like retail sales. I know that there's other people might have had different experiences, but I found I didn't ever had a lot of money when I was selling things. And when you when you're not making a lot of money selling the thing, it is really hard to kind of be like, oh, the cost of this isn't that, like the value of the thing. It's so hard in my head to kind of rationalize, like me thinking about how much I'm asking someone to spend when when I'm thinking about my own,
absolutely.
like the disconnect there was so hard, and that was the thing I struggled with. I think the most. I think is why I suck at sales in general.
Well, yeah.
I've just always been kind of like it's a thing where like I'm, so when I force myself to be, I can be very outgoing. I can be very whatever. I've worked in all the things that I do and all the artistic stuff. So I have this, I can kind of perform, but at the same time too, like I have such a hard time asking people,
Oh my God, yes.
like,
Hey, spend
making me
more money.
Yeah,
Spend
it's
more
so
If you have
hard.
an iota of conscience, it's really like, I mean, like there were some warranties that I was like, this actually makes sense because the one issued through the company is like you have to mail whatever back.
Yeah.
But like, the in-store benefits, but then like when it gets to some of the nitty-gritty about the details of the in-store benefits and how they're not actually that much of a benefit, and I'm like, I personally do not have 60 disposable dollars. And I'm supposed to assume that everybody that comes in to buy a console does, even though most of the time it's people with like their carefully weighed out child's money where they've had a kid that has like a pillowcase of coin.
Yeah, it's like you've been saving up for your Switch.
I know
now
that
we
you
get
have
to go make the lady count it.
$800, but
Yeah.
do you happen to go through the couch for about $40 more so that you can possibly get this piece of paper that if you lose it, we can't help you?
Selling stuff to people at Christmas time, like, because in cell phones you can see their account, you can see if they've been paying their bills.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, I want the newest thing, the latest thing. It's gonna charge them an extra like $700 on their bill. Their plan has to jump another $20 a month, because at the time that's when cell phone plans were really skyrocketing.
Yeah.
In Canada at least. And then, then all the accessories that we get a grade on if people buy them with their phones, like, it just seems so predatory.
That's the right
absolutely,
word
yeah.
for it. I mean, that's how I felt sometimes when, because like I said, it's a lot of times like there's like the people that know the product, they know what they're doing, they've budgeted whatever, and then you have people that are shopping for someone, and they don't actually have an idea so much as they're just like, oh, I'm just going on a list that like a 12-year-old gave me that they want for Christmas. Yeah, upsell whatever if you think I need it, and if you have a conscience, it's kind of hard to rationalize being like, I know that I look good if you spend an extra $200, but like that doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Like it's, I think we are in the it seems like we are in the waning like last moments of capitalism. Like it seems like it's late stages, and I'm really excited about that. But just because it like everything is a nightmare. But yeah, this idea of this predatory, just like pushing for sales and stuff and upsell stuff from people who you can tell like they are doing their best to get what they're trying to get. Like it is, especially at Christmas, they're trying to get gifts. They're trying to give somebody they're trying to be altruistic and trying to give somebody a good Christmas and the best experience. And for you to have to try to exploit that and try to upsell and add on all these extra things, it just makes you feel icky.
Well, I mean, I also think that I apologize. Did you want to? I also feel like it kind of puts like a hat on a hat for a lot of like, especially parents, I guess, where, not only do they want to give their family the best Christmas, but then, when you're given all these options for add-ons that you can't necessarily afford, I feel like that would just be guilt-inducing because you're like, am I doing the best? Am I getting everybody what they need? Is everybody going to wake up disappointed on Christmas? Like, if I have kids that are a certain age, are they going to be like, holy shit, there's no Santa because the batteries are missing? Like, just stuff like that. I feel like it's just kind of like a well-oiled horror machine.
Well, like, Christmas has become... Well, it's no secret that Christmas is the most stressful time of year.
Oh
Just
my
the
God,
cost
yes.
of everything, trying to get people things that they want and or need. But it seems like they've taken that giving spirit of the holiday and have twisted it into something that like back with selling cell phones, Christmas time, a mom wants to buy their kid the latest and greatest, like an iPhone or something like that. They find out that their bill will jump $50. Like, they had a bare bones thing previous. Their bill's going to go skyrocketing. They'd have to pay extra just for the phone. And she turned around and said to her kid, it's like, hey, I can't get you that one. But what about this one? The kid looked devastated because the kids in their class are going to have iPhones.
Yeah.
And they left. I managed to sell them something a bit lower end, something that was within their budget. My boss is like, how come you didn't sell them accessories? How come you didn't get them this plan or that thing? And I was just like, because they can't afford it. like, I know our numbers are supposed to be up here, but our humanity is also supposed to be up here.
I mean, yeah, like if you're getting, I don't know, I think that I felt better getting customer service reviews from people being like, oh, that person was so helpful and they walked me through what I needed, instead of being like, I have a credit card bill that's astronomical and I'm already on a fixed income.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like a throwdown Christmas time? Like someone just like
I actually haven't. You have your phenomenal poem. But no, I actually never really did see in person, like as a, not that I can think of, like
not as an employee.
not one that I haven't like buried and tried to forget, I guess. But
A lot of these
no.
things we're just talking about trauma here.
Yeah.
So a lot of people
Yeah,
are like,
no, a lot of people will go
wait a
home
minute,
after
oh
this.
yeah, I did see someone get stabbed.
Yeah, like I know, I'm just trying to think. Like I've seen some crazy stuff, obviously, but never. Yeah, like the cell phone stuff, especially, was just like, it was what you said. Like you kind of knew you had your regular customers who were coming in, and you knew that they were coming in and paying their bill with like like nickels and dimes and pennies as they were trying to like like you said, like going through couches and stuff to do this sort of thing. So then trying to upsell them a phone with all these accessories, it like you feel terrible about it. But like I never really, like the store I was in was always, because it was also kind of a standalone, like it wasn't in
It wasn't in a mall.
Okay.
It wasn't in a, okay.
the craziest the craziest I had wasn't holiday related, but there was one time a woman came in and we had just opened a new location. And I was working kind of like opening weekend and stuff, and this lady came in and I had upsold her. Like I actually had done the things I was supposed to do, because it was like, again, it was like our grand opening. It was like the regional manager and stuff was there. It was like a whole thing. And I sold this lady a new phone. She like, I think she had kind of like pay as you go or whatever at the time, which I don't even think is a thing anymore.
I don't. Well,
Pay as you go is still a
I was
thing.
gonna say, I feel like you can still buy like the minutes phones. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but she had something like that, and I upsold her, like got her on a contract, got her on the whole thing. And like the next day, I remember she came back in. This was like a Friday, and then like the Saturday, I was working by myself, and she came back in, and she was like mad. She wanted to return the phone. She wasn't happy with whatever, but there was like a clause of like, you're like so much like talk time or whatever, like
Yeah, data usage, talk time.
yeah, and she had kind of exceeded all that stuff within the first whatever, like
What's messed up about that is you can pass your data limits setting up the phone.
yeah.
Holy cow.
So it made it like, because like a lot of the phones, because they were smartphones, had to use the internet to download some stuff onto the phone.
Okay.
And if they didn't set it up in store, or if you hit the wrong thing, you didn't use Wi-Fi when you set it up, that could erase your grace period immediately.
That wasn't the case here. This was
good.
This was just talk time. This wasn't my, but and I was just like, I'm sorry, like I can't do, like you're in this now, like it's the thing. It's like you've signed your contract. It said this in the contract. Like I laid it out. I talked to you about the different things. Like you've initialed, you whatever. And she's like, I don't believe it. Like I don't believe that this happened. Like I don't believe you showed me. Like I wouldn't have done that. And so I'm like, I got the contract to show her, and I'm like, I'm holding it there, and I'm talking to her, and I'm walking her through it, and she grabbed the contract from my hand and ran away. Thinking that was going to be the thing that got like,
well, that's fault now.
Well, if they don't have the contract, they can't prove anything.
Exactly. And it became a thing. Like I think we ended up having to like open a thing with the RNC and stuff, just because she was like kind of coming. She was like harassing us. Like she was regularly coming back to the. That one actually was in a larger, like, well, it wasn't like a mall, but it was a. Again, I can't really say without giving stuff away, but yeah, it was.
It was a shopping center worth more than one store.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah. There was a Tim Hortons directly above us. There was other retail places across the hall. It was a thing.
People that work in, just a bit of a side note, people that work anywhere that sells coffee during the holidays, we salute you. Holy crap.
Gosh.
Oh my goodness.
There's so many times that like the employee at the coffee place in the mall when I work there probably talked me out of like doing something that would wind up on VOCM.
We had a Tim Hortons maven like that in the mall I worked in, and her name.
You've already said what mall you work in. It's fine.
It's
You
true.
did a poem about it.
I did write a poem. Honestly, like that, I've said the name of that mall so many times live and on stage, and like with Just for Laughs.
And it's
like,
not a mall. It's not even a mall. It is a shopping
It's
center.
a shopping
it is a
center.
shopping center. It is a shopping center. They were just like the most newfie grandmother.
Just
like,
Nan.
"Look at you, my angel," and it's
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's the best.
So I just wanted to Black Friday.
Oof.
Black Friday was named after the financial crisis of 1869,
Oh, good.
where the price of gold plummeted and a lot of people lost everything. So in the 1950s, retail decided to be like, great name for a sale.
I want to capitalize on this exact feeling.
Was that Black Friday in 1869, you said?
Yes, that was the...
Was that also like the Friday after Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. So that's where Black Friday got its name. It's almost like, hey, come down to the 9/11 bargain sale.
I was just about to say, do we have any more recent tragedies that we could perhaps name future shopping events after?
Yeah, it's like, oh, come on down to the housing bubble crisis. Our prices are bursting.
You'll lose your shirt and also your home.
So Black Friday is historically like the most deaths in retail of the year.
Yeah.
And
I
I would
saw
like
so
to,
many people cry.
but I will say, the first death on Black Friday was not recorded until 2008.
Well, we've made up for some lost, like...
Well, I got a couple here.
Yeah.
So this is not involving the Cabbage Patch Dolls of the 90s.
That was the 80s.
Oh, sorry, the 80s,
Come on, man.
where people fought each other in the streets for dolls. It was not. This also doesn't. There was no deaths for Tickle Me Elmo for Black Friday, because all the deaths related to Tickle Me Elmo were just around the season and the release of the dolls.
Okay.
So
More you know.
And I also want to say this is not a comprehensive list. This is just the highlights, as it were.
The best of reel.
In 2008, Walmart greeter trampled to death when staff tried to stop people from coming into the store so they could help their coworker off the ground. They pushed them aside, saying, "I have been waiting in the cold." That person died.
Holy crap.
Same day, same year, 2 people were shot at a Toys R Us after a fight. Nothing in 2009. Hooray!
Oh.
2010, man trampled to death at Target. 2011, lady used pepper spray on other customers to get advantage on getting an Xbox 360. Note, her 2 children were with her. Same day, a man died of a heart attack. It was a pharmacist at a store. He died of a heart attack, collapsed on the floor. People were stepping over his body to get past him so they could get a TV. 2012, are you sad yet? 2 people shot after dispute over a parking spot. 2013 Black Friday, shopper beat up store manager after a dispute over the price of a TV.
You know what? I get that one, though.
You said it was $50 off. Shiv. Yeah, I didn't realize Black Friday was just prison rules.
I was going to say, listen, it's a free-for-all.
2014, 2 women arrested for fighting at Walmart over a Barbie. 5-person brawl at a department store. 2015. Now, 2015 was dubbed the worst Black Friday brawls in history.
The Blackest Friday since that first one.
Apparently. And apparently people said that this is the worst, largely because cell phone, camera phones, everyone had them at this point in 2015. So
Right.
the brawls and the murders
Oh,
and
you
the
got to
shootings
see everything.
were all filmed and put online.
The revolution was televised. Okay. Or revolt, I guess. Just
I was going to say revolt, maybe?
Yeah. The revulsion was televised.
Yeah, and in that year, there was a fight between, quote, several people over some Air Jordans. 20...
Like Jordan 1s, though? Like,
they just said Air Jordans.
I mean...
I didn't really deep dive into the kind
it
of
depends
shoes.
on the Jordans, really. Like,
Yeah.
it
Humpy
doesn't.
shoes are worth a
You'd
lot.
fist fight someone over some shoes made by
No.
children?
No.
Well, when you say it like that.
Yeah, when you say the truth of the matter.
Yeah. No, I was trying to bring in some levity and make a joke and
No levity here. 2016. 2 separate shootings in a mall, and another one outside Macy's. And in 2016, this may be my favorite, outside of an Adidas store in Vancouver, a shirtless man started whipping people with his belt so he could get the new release shoes.
Okay, well, I just felt a surge of Canadian pride.
Yeah, I didn't like.
Yacha!
I was about to like kind of make a comment about how like based on like Macy's and some of the like Target and
Total
stuff like that,
US.
it all seemed very US.
A lot of these are from America. 2 of them are from Canada.
So the Vancouver one, which is the other one from Canada?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Oh, we're not done. I thought
It
we were
involves
done the
me.
list.
No.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, I
that
thought we
was
were done the list.
2016.
Oh, my
we got
gosh, we
9
still
years
have-
left, baby.
Oh,
2018. Man was shot dead after shooting 2 people in a mall. So he shot 2 people in the mall, and the security guard shot him dead.
what's a mall security guard doing with a gun?
I know they have
That
everything.
one was America.
Okay,
they
all
still
right.
have everything on their keys, but a gun.
Yeah.
2019, a fight leading to a shooting in a mall food court. 2023, notice there is a distinct gap between 2020 and 2022.
For reasons unknown.
2020,
But the
2019.
comment sections on those websites are so.
Oh, hateful.
All those online retail stores have.
Their
Uh,
reviews are just a series of 1 stars with slurs.
Yeah.
2023. 3 people stabbed in a mall in Calgary.
Of
They
course
were
it was Calgary.
arrested. And then at another mall across town, 3 more people stabbed.
So 6 stabbings in Calgary on one Black Friday.
One Black Friday, 2 different malls. They arrested the first people before the stabbings at the second mall.
What if they all knew each other and they were like, hey, first one to get 5 people wins?
The Purge.
But also, additionally, I feel validated as a very short person that I'm like, yeah, see, this is why I don't participate in Black Friday, because that's how you get trampled to death.
You've got like a lower like center of balance and stuff, so you actually might be.
I can like collapse my bones like a rat, I guess, and duck through the crowd, but if I were to fall, it'd be all over for me.
Yeah,
Isn't
your
that
bones
also-
would also collapse like a rat, but only not because of you collapsing them, because of
Oh.
the hundreds of feet.
The forceful collapsing of several people determined to buy barbecue in January, yes.
2024, we're not done yet.
Oh, gosh.
2 people shot at a mall. And 2025, I personally brought a sack of dodgeballs to a Walmart and started hucking them at fat children in the candy aisle.
Oh right, because
Really thought this was going to get more laughs. We'll cut
Well,
that
it's more
last
so.
one.
I was just confused for a
I
second. 'cause
know,
I'm
I
like,
just-
we're not at Black Friday of 2025 yet, but then it's like right, this will like
Yeah,
this
no,
will
we'll
be
cut all
released
this.
after.
I thought the joke was
Right.
funny.
No,
and
I
then
thought it
no
was
one
funny.
responded.
Yeah,
But
no, it was,
I didn't know if we needed to, like be there for you emotionally. If
It's
this
also
was-
just kind of like it's not a funny joke unless you do it now.
Yeah, no, now you have to.
Oh, yeah, no, by the time this airs, I'm on the news.
And then meanwhile, like I've been replaced by some like David Spade because I've been trampled to death in a subsequent comedy
You were
vulture
there to
David
film it,
Spade.
and that's like the first time you ventured into a store on Black Friday.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay,
get
hey
trampled.
guys, it's me. I just wanted to try something new and whoa! I just make a noise like somebody that biffed a chihuahua.
So Black Friday, inherently violent by the sounds of it.
Not surprised.
It's also like, isn't that like the Thanksgiving, like the new, like the
It's after American Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
no, but the movie, like the Eli Roth movie that came out a couple years ago. I think that whole thing is like the plot around that movie is someone is trampled to death on a Black Friday, and then
Ooh.
like everything else is kind of like all, like the killer and stuff is all like revenge stuff from that.
Oh.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that's the plot of that movie. Spoilers, it came out a couple years ago.
I was gonna say like it. I mean, we've had time to see it. This is on us.
Yeah.
But I like that new horror movies are just like, guess what could happen to you in pedestrian traffic?
Yeah.
But, like, based on the evidence, it can.
Oh, 100%.
Oh my, yes. I mean, like we were talking about this a bit before we started recording, but I can remember 3 separate occasions in 3 different locations that I've worked at where I was struck by a customer between like October and December 23rd, usually closer to Christmas because we didn't have something that had been out of sale in the province for literal months. Because I don't know, again, like I think that people get kind of the people are not great on a good day if you're working in a position where you're customer facing, but then I think that people really like steroid that up come Christmas.
Yeah, I think that there's like just like there's also a thing in the U.S. and I know we've like ventured off a couple different times with things, but like,
What with all the Macy
well,
shootings?
no, I think when you like, I've often, half seriously joked about how like, a lot of the issues there, I think, come back to the healthcare thing,
Oof.
where it's like where it's such healthcare in that country is such a it's such a cost. It's such a like scary cost. It breeds this level of competition in everything else. When the sniffles can bankrupt you, the idea of like saving an extra $5 on a TV makes it that cutthroat.
You know what? That
and
would
so
make
it's
sense
just,
and compound that.
it's a very reductive like version of that whole thing. But yeah, like I think like when all these things become such a strong competition within that culture, I think it does kind of force and drive that level of like intense. I need this. I deserve it more than you do. I want this. Like I'm willing to do whatever to get that thing that I deserve more than you. There's like an individualism that comes from it, and not for nothing, not to alienate. I don't know what your listener base is like, but like Western Canada has a lot of there's places in Western Canada that have very similar ideals to the US in that regard, and that's where the stabbings were.
Well, I mean, yeah, I imagine that if you got a kid that still believes in Santa, you're probably very highly motivated, more so than your average bear, to get X, Y, or Z that they're asking for.
Yeah,
I think competition is the great word that you used there, because it's a competition of status symbols. So, when that mom came with her kids to get an iPhone and they can't afford it, the kid looked devastated.
That's
Because
so
they were going to be
sad.
made fun of because they didn't have the latest and greatest. Like, expensive things have become like the way we show others we're successful. And the latest and greatest, the more expensive it is, and people are hucking money at things that they don't need, they don't want. It is literally something to say, oh, I got the new thing. And when you look at Christmas, and you look at, or the holidays in general, it's like peace, love, giving, friendship, mirth, family,
Murder outside of Macy's.
whipping a lineup with your belt.
That actually sounds like not a bad way to spend a weekday, but
Yeah, he really thought he was going to get to the front of that line, just going, yacha, yacha, yacha.
I appreciate the hustle. Like if I saw a shirtless guy in like the fall, so that is nippy weather,
Oh, yeah.
just whipping a belt, I'd be like,
that
after
was
you,
Vancouver,
sir.
though, right?
That's Vancouver.
Yeah,
It's
there might
still
have been a Chinook. It could have been.
colder.
Honestly, they might have had, like, at worst, light drizzle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still an inconvenient weather to be topless in.
Yeah, he was whipping some people with his belt. What they left out of the story is he was stabbing others with his nips.
He was like, they could cut glass.
And you!
That was it. They hadn't opened the store in time. They were waiting out in the cold, so he was just like trying to get it set so he could like cut through the windows and climb in himself.
Right.
But just like to bring something to a depressing note, it's something that I've considered
Right,
a
'cause
lot.
everything up to now has been so
Oh,
light.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I mean, like,
very light and hearty with the
I hate to make it sad when
Jets
we've been
year
talking
over
about
year at Black Friday.
just casual stabbings,
just some casual manslaughter.
as one does. But like, I did consider the notion that, your average person in North America is swimming in debt that's, I guess, commercial related. So it's, like credit cards and the like, and, it is, again, like we've mentioned, predatory, but I feel like that kind of almost inspires like a fuck it attitude. Like if you have that much debt, that's
Just
almost
tunnel to China.
just insurmountable debt. And you're like, well, I'm clearly not going to pay this off. And you know that like your family's not going to inherit that when you die. So at that point, like, what do you have to lose?
And that's the really messed up thing, is that people are in a place where they're like, what do I have to lose? I might as well just max everything out on these holidays.
This episode of Retails is brought to you by Capital One.
Well, like, I mean, I was talking about it with some friends the other day, and I mentioned that I'd put like a flight a few years ago on my credit card, and it actually filled me with like childlike dread because it was like 4K, just because it was like I had to leave the country pretty suddenly for like a family thing in the UK. And they were like, oh, is that all you owe? And I was like, right now. And they were like, oh, that's nothing. And like most people in our age bracket or something, when I looked it up, like 17 to 25K.
Wow, I didn't realize I was doing it as well as I was.
I genuinely thought I was living like shit, and then someone told me that, and I'm like, I could rack up more debt. I'm not going to do my taxes for 10 more years.
No! And on
I
that
learned
haunting
nothing.
note, we're going to take a brief intermission to hear another retail from Sarah.
Christmas cheer was in the air. Unfortunately, this was overshadowed by the asbestos floating through the ventilation system at the dirt mall, but that didn't stop the employees within from doing their best. It was December 23rd, and the fact that the mall was on shortened hours seemed to only inspire the shoppers to take their goddamn time. Of course they had questions, and in order to best serve them, you'd need to be patient with them, despite the lineup of angry people leading out of the store and the mounting pressure on your bladder. I was working in a video game store, and I knew that I personally had already been responsible for ruining 6 Christmases and 1 birthday that day alone. Yes, I was a functionally alcoholic 20-year-old, and I alone controlled the inventory of our store. And hell, maybe even other stores. I took the abuse in good faith, knowing that if I just got through the day alive, there would be a box of wine and an ill-obtained Ativan in my apartment for me under the Christmas cactus. Around noon, my numbers had dramatically increased, and I'd been screamed at for ruining 14 Christmases, which was a personal record. It had been my fault that all those parents waited until the day before Christmas Eve to find a console that had been sold out province-wide since July. It was my fault that we didn't have copies of a game that didn't come out until May. And it was my fault that GTA had been unfairly rated M for mature, and therefore it was unacceptable to a 7-year-old who didn't want anything else. At 12:06, I took my break, and on autopilot I shuffled out to the loading docks where the other mall staff had huddled to smoke and dissociate. We sat around a small hobo fire, although in hindsight I'm certain that a garbage can shouldn't have been aflame in a shopping center. I took my spot on a milk crate and fumbled for my cigarettes. I always felt that I only smoked to guarantee a break during the day. Corporate could keep us from eating and peeing, but apparently there were rules about interfering with nicotine. I brought my smoke to my lips, and I considered getting hit by a car. I wouldn't have to go back. The risk of that was that if they only broke a few bones, it would just make the remainder of my shift harder. It was then that the first of us broke. The girl from the chocolate kiosk started to sob big, ugly sobs. "Why are they all so angry?" she choked it out. "It isn't our fault that they have a praline allergy." This had broke the woman from the lotto kiosk next. A woman had come in and slapped her that day because her husband had spent all of their extra money for presents on pull tabs. The kid from the bookstore was next. He'd been screamed at for not having personalized items for somebody's daughter, named Courtney, but spelled with a K and a secret G. At this point, I broke. I was lighting my cig off the end of my previous cig, and something in me snapped, and I was surrounded by the grief of my cohorts. Kevin from the menswear department had been called a sexist for not having women's cuts available. Anthony from the pet store had been berated for not refunding a family for their dead guinea pig that they'd purchased 18 months ago. They'd called him a drug dealer, for some reason, before leaving the poor dead rodent on his desk. We all cried, our sadness unifying. An older man in the corner had sat silently and watched. He stood up, and we all instinctively collected ourselves and looked up. The kid from the food court was crying in my lap while I pat their fluffy little head. "We're all working as hard as we can," he said with an air of authority, "and we'll get through this together." We dried our eyes and straightened our name tags. Food court kid gently punched my shoulder. The kiosk girl clapped. He pulled a flask from his pants pocket and passed it around. We all took a swig of what I'm certain was at least 5 different kinds of alcohol and possibly mouthwash. We cheersed in solidarity. Our hero smiled at us and extinguished his cigarette on the brick wall before adjusting his clothes. "Best foot forward, everyone," he said kindly. "Be the best you that you can be." He then put on the Santa hat and beard from his costume and returned to get his picture taken with hundreds of screaming children for the rest of the day. It had been a Christmas miracle.
And welcome back, everyone. We're here with Mike Hickey talking about retail, holidays, and violence.
So much violence.
I can't believe, because it's such a running thing in retail that, like, the closer you get to Christmas, the more people are surprised everything is sold out.
What do you mean you don't have this highly popular item the day before Christmas Eve?
It's nuts. It blows me away that people are like, all right, everyone is shopping. This is the most popular item. It's been out for 2 months. Will I get it? I'm feeling lucky.
Well,
I think there's and not to overempathize with monsters, but I think that there is a thing where, again, I like thinking back to my own time in retail. Like we talked earlier about like the whole idea of like struggling to upsell based on me doing my own math about the money I had and if it was of value to me, that kind of thing. I think that there's something about like, yeah, like, okay, cool. It's Christmas. I haven't been able to afford to go out and do this and get this thing. Like, like it's the saving up until kind of moment. And so then the frustration of I finally have the ability to go get this and now it's not available, I think becomes a thing. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to overemphasize with these
No,
people
I mean,
that are
I
terrible
feel
to
terrible
retail
for
workers. but
That's a real
I've
thing.
been,
I don't disagree with that. Where I gain umbrage, as it were, is that somehow it's my fault.
Oh, yeah. No.
And
Oh,
I
absolutely.
should be berated as such.
Well, yeah, when I used to get yelled at when I worked at the video game store because, I mean, when the Wii came out, this province had none for like, I think it was like 4 months minimum. And then the ones that we did get in, this was when we were still taking pre-orders, by the way. So like after those pre-orders were filled, we never took pre-orders on consoles again because we're like, it's cumbersome. We don't know how many we're going to get. This could take us a really long time.
Yeah.
But like we'd have people coming in December 20th to 23rd demanding a Wii and then maintaining that it was obvious that we had one and we were just holding it for somebody and, stuff like that. And it's just like, I'm pretty sure that I had a retainer when I worked there. So I genuinely looked like a child. And I was just like, why is he screaming at me so much? And it's just like, well, it's clearly I'm in charge of Nintendo.
Yeah. Like it's
Me personally.
It just people just trying to like it's just a pyramid of shit, where it's just like this person is just screaming at somebody because they have to vent, I think. But it's like it's terrible. And
so
you shouldn't
why
do
is
it,
someone who is paid minimum wage, and in some cases in the United States less than, like, I don't care how disappointed you are. I really don't. Sure, this is like the big thing that they wanted or something that their kids wanted. To look at someone across the desk and say, you've ruined my Christmas. You've ruined my children's Christmases. You've ruined the holidays. Fuck you and everyone who looks like you. Like that, like, I don't care if you're disappointed. I don't care if you're mad. I don't care if this is the thing that would make your kid happy. The people behind the desk don't make enough to buy the thing you
Oh my
want
God,
half
no.
the time.
Yeah.
Well, like, so at the game store, we'd have like the disc in the filing cabinet in the back. And then when we sold the game, we'd put the disc in, blah, blah, blah. The day after we opened for, I guess returns, which in my opinion, kind of worse than Christmas sales.
Oh my God, yes.
But we had a woman come in furious and she had the receipt and she was like, I had a very unhappy little boy on Christmas morning because he wanted to know why Santa would do this to him. And, I checked the receipt. It was me. I was like, it was my first Christmas there. I'd sold him a game without a game in it. I apologized profusely. I obviously fixed it. And then, I personally gave them a gift card. Like, I rang it through with my money because I was like, I am so sorry. And then the next day she brought her son in and her son was old enough to drive.
You were imagining like a small child.
Well, the way that she said it, like, I'm like a
You've
tough
ruined
lady.
my little boy's Christmas.
But I literally went out back and like bawled because I was like, I've been yelled at by so many people, but just the idea that it's like my fault that there's like a kid that's just like, why is Santa mad at me? Like, and I was like, and then the next day she brought her beautiful bouncing baby boy in and he was like taller than me and had a mustache. And I was like, I don't think I spoiled
my
shit
little
for you.
angel's Christmas. Hank.
It's like this is how he found out there was no Santa because I had to explain it was your fault.
And he's just like,
And
we
he
gotta
came
get
in to tell you off.
Hank
in,
coughs in
Abraham.
between,
Yeah.
like vaping, and he's like, "We gotta get to the liquor store next, Mom." But like, yeah, no, and I think that like there's a difference between being disappointed in somebody's service and then just disappointed because you can't get something that you want. But like again, like why are you screaming at? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, if
it's-
somebody paid me $100 an hour and my only job was for them to yell at me, I would totally do it. I'd be like, okay, get it out, girl. But like, if I'm making under minimum wage at a job where I'm expected to, let's face it, it's probably a really physical job. It's probably something that involves like a bunch of tedious organizational tasks and cash and gross people that cough with their mouth open while making hard eye contact with you. And if you're paying me under minimum wage to do that and then also get screamed at, like that's...
I've often said and said many times on this show, giving a shit is a $20 an hour job.
minimum.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, your Christmas gift for your kid isn't there the day before Christmas. I would care but I got $4 left an hour on my check before I get to that point.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
I would care, but I'm still in my overdraft, and until
Yeah, for the employee subscription service you signed up for, you did not get the premium service.
and like that's the thing. I want to make it very clear that like when I was just talking about the projecting, like I'm not trying to
No, but sometimes
I'm not
an
justifying as much as
innocent
I'm just trying to like
But
you
it's
know,
true,
I'm not excusing
sometimes-
any sort of thing. Like I think it is just a projection of other frustrations, and unfortunately, it's that person that it gets taken out on, and it sucks that it's that person because
But-
they don't deserve it.
But
and
it's
I was
also
gonna
like
say,
business is
empathy
the
is-
lightning rod. Like
Oh,
Yeah.
employees are the lightning rod for everyone else's holiday stress.
yeah, 100% because it's the person that you're looking
Well,
at.
and
right?
absolutely.
It's-
And you can have empathy going into it being like, and I think that also kind of cushions it for me. And I don't know if it's the same for you, but when somebody would be like bawling at me and I'd be like, they're not really mad at me. They're mad at like the fact that they waited until December the goddamn 23rd to buy something. But, go off. But then there's simultaneously, yeah, you can have a little bit of empathy for them, but like there's an expression is like, I can understand the tiger, but I'm not getting in the cage with him.
yeah.
That's a great phrase.
Oh, it's fantastic. And I think that somebody told me that, but it was like in a context of like narcissistic relationships. But I was like, oh no, it sounds like retail. So there's a lot of times that like I'm
it's
like,
the same thing. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like dealing with a narcissist that way, it is not unlike it is like a retail relationship because yeah, it's like everything is your fault.
oh, everything.
Nothing is on them.
You're going to be gaslit to Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. It's all the same thing as dealing with a narcissist.
What do you mean I need a receipt?
Somebody tried to bring me back an Xbox 360 when they were still like at that point they were no longer new. Like I think we were on Xbox One and they apparently bought it from the store like 8 years previous and I was like, I can't take this. And there was a boot mark in it too. And they were like, well, it don't work. And I was like,
Well, there's your problem right there.
I was like, I'm no technician, but it could be the boot mark. Like it's got a dent from somebody obviously stomping on it. And they were like, well, I bought the warranty. And I was like, can I have your receipt? And they were like, they told me I didn't need it. I was like, nobody would have said that. Also, the warranty only covers you for a year.
and not boots.
And not boots. And like, yeah, like I hate that we had to specifically explain this to people who bought an extended warranty, where it was just like, okay, so the warranty will cover general wear and tear. But like we had to specifically tell people that if something was in multiple pieces, we could not take it back and do it. Because we're not magic. Like we could resurface a disc in the store for some places, but like we can't put like 15 pieces back together and be like, fixed. We're not Apple geniuses.
That's what Apple Geniuses can do?
I
They're
assume.
magic? Okay, cool.
They seem very aggressively confident.
I guess we just like with Jump Plus, we don't get that level of.
So what things can like businesses or employees do to help reduce the amount of just sheer abuse they take at the holidays?
I think just lock the doors.
Don't let them in.
Just push everybody to the website. I think it's the only solution.
Honestly.
People are shit and they're gonna be shit. And the stress of the holidays, all that stuff just brings out the worst in everybody. And I think the only way to get rid of it is to just get rid of it. Just lock the doors. Don't let anybody in.
Just make online shopping mandatory.
No, but then when you lock the doors, you leave the glass windows and you just stand and make hard eye contact with people and slowly wave.
And then just like the thing they want, like, you hold up the Xbox
Just-
360 and then you just like light it on fire. And just watch it burn in front of them and watch
There's
them.
only 8 of those in the province.
Whoosh.
7 now.
And then put a boot mark on it just to
Yeah.
be like, behold.
Yeah, no, I just think that, I mean, other than, I don't think like we're in a world where we can actually like have any kind of punitive thing against it. Where it's just like, okay, cool, you were shit, like an anti-discount. Where it's like, okay, cool, you were shitty to the employee, cost you an extra 10% now.
You know
Like,
what?
other
I
than
love
something
that.
like that, like.
I wish
A
that you
punitive
had.
system for
Yeah.
shitty
I
customers.
kind of wish that you had to have like a driver's license system on the go for whenever you enter pedestrian traffic. And it's like, oh, are you walking on the left side when the other side is doing the same? Lose 10 points. You don't get to go to the mall for a week if you lose 60 points.
So in 2019, from the list of
Macy
horrors,
shootings.
apparently 2019 was the largest in-person Black Friday in history.
Ooh.
So even then, online shopping had become a thing, but people were still going in store to berate employees.
Yeah.
And then I note the gap between 2020 and 2023. There's no
Because they all got it out of their system. That's all that happened there.
Well, because like, sure, it was COVID,
Yeah.
but
Wait, what?
We lost time, man.
yeah, man, this little thing that happened for 4 years.
If you were in a coma for the last 6 years, boy, do we have to fill you in.
Nazis are back.
Yeah.
And
like,
better than ever.
When I was younger, like we had settled some, like there were things that were just like objective truths, like the Earth was round, Nazis were bad, Nickelback sucked, mullets were stupid. All of it is like apparently like people want to bring back the debate on all.
I was
going to
say now the debate is on all of those. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's like we settled this. We settled this a long time ago. We don't need to open these things up and like rehash this argument. All the opinions we had as a culture 25 years ago on
They
these
don't
things,
need to shift.
we don't need to revisit them. Like,
So in that gap, there was still shopping happening,
Yeah,
yeah,
but you had to have a mask on for it.
right.
that was awful.
And there was no, at least notable, based on what my quick research.
Which
there was-
seems weird because you would think that.
Oh, I
mask-
said,
but the
I apologize.
maskless
Like,
people weren't allowed in the stores.
that was it.
So, I'm not saying this is the cause, but maybe if we just kept the mouth breathers out of the stores.
So to clarify, when I said that was awful, it was
vaccines cause politeness.
it
That's why.
causes politeness. It's people that think about other people, but like, yeah, the
Yeah,
only
like,
thing.
it's people with empathy.
The only thing that I
Are empathetic.
absolutely hated about working during, well, I hated a lot of things about working during COVID, but I hated the people that would come in, one, with your mask around your chin, because I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
first
chin
off,
diaper.
useless. And second, the people that, again, you're absolutely right. Like, I loved most of my interactions with people. They were mindful. They were wearing a mask. If somebody sneezed, they were like, I'm allergic to dust. I'm so sorry. And I was like, that's okay. You're doing your best. And then you'd have the people that are like, I don't need to have to put a mask on because I'm medically exempt. I'm like, okay. But then they would be like a dick about it because they were like, you're all sheep. And I'm like, I'm starting to believe that you're not medically exempt.
But yeah, like maybe like, maybe the kinds of people who are like, mask, blah, blah, blah.
Sheeple.
And the people who shoot people at Macy's,
There might be a Venn diagram happening.
maybe
I
there's
think there's-
some cross. I'm not saying just because you're a COVID conspiracy theorist or you refuse to get vaccines or wear masks or do any of that stuff. Maybe there is a little
I
bit
know,
of
but I think
crossover.
it goes back to kind of what we talked about earlier about that level of competitiveness and how that drives this like individualistic kind of mentality. It's just the people that are more selfish and more individual driven, like thinking about like
Single-minded.
single-minded, thinking more about themselves, that sort of thing. Or yeah, like that's it. Like the people that lack that empathy
are going to start whipping people outside of Adidas
are the
with
people
their
that,
belt, shirtless.
I deserve these sneakers. You don't, like
What if we find out that he was secretly a vigilante and everybody he hit
yeah,
was like,
was gonna
was
trample. They
bad.
were gonna trample everybody else.
but like, I mean, I don't think that that's maybe similar to before you're allowed to be a doctor. We should have to do an ethics exam before we go Christmas shopping.
Yeah, but the thing is that the people like these the people the people that need it the most are the people that are going to claim they're medically exempt from the ethics exam, right? Like that's the problem. It's the people that need that ethics thing the most are the people that are going to be like, no, I don't need to do that.
I'm not doing that.
I got a note. Like,
Yeah, and that competitive nature really takes over because, you three people got stabbed across town in Calgary. Well, there's a mall right over here,
Yeah.
boys. We will not be outdone.
East Calgary thinks they're better than West Calgary.
Not
We'll
on
show
my
them.
watch.
Yeah.
Let's get stabby.
I think maybe competitive is the terrifying way to look at this, is that I think Christmas brings out the absolute worst in people.
But I honestly think that is where a lot of it comes from. The competitive, getting the best gifts, making sure, my kid's going to have the best Christmas. My kid's not going to be the one that's made fun of because they don't have the new and great thing.
Well, even when you
but
set
it's mine,
perimeters,
right?
though,
It's
like,
my kid. This
My
is my
this, my
thing,
that. It's that
mine.
individualistic, like self-centered kind of.
well, like when I worked in daycare, we'd have a Santa come in and we'd say, all the parents, send in a book. We're going to wrap up a book, send it in. That's what every kid is getting from Santa. So that way it's like equal. Everybody gets a book. Great. There was at least two parents that obviously like wrapped up like a Barbie or like something huge or like something that was really flashy. And I was like, guys, like what did you read?
Yeah.
We had a $10 Secret Santa limit.
Well, and like, like a couple
Like
of
the this is all Balthazar's fault, right? The two other guys show up with like frankincense and myrrh, and he brings gold.
He's just
and
like,
it just ruins the Secret
I
Santa
know
for
that
everybody
we all
forever.
said $10 budget, but
Oh,
I
man,
don't
it reminds
know.
me. I gotta go
assume
buy
Bal-
some
Balthazar's the
myrrh.
only one whose name I know. There was.
I didn't
there's-
know any of their name. I
there's-
just thought that they were the
there's-
three dudes.
They have names, and Balthazar is one of them, and there's two other names, and I can never remember them.
I mean, who needs to remember anything besides Balthazar?
Yeah.
It's a name that goes strongly on luggage.
But yeah, it's, just the holidays do just bring out the worst in people in that sense. And yeah, it is my like driver of just trying to get the best for themselves and for and like sometimes it's also like that narcissistic thing of like, it's not even that you want your kid to have the best thing. It's not to give them the best Christmas. It's to reflect best on you. It's my kid has the best. It's that thing of like I was
Especially in divorce households.
Oh my God.
Buying a kid's Christmas love.
Oh, dude, if like a divorced dad came in the store, I was like, I'm getting a gold sticker next to my name this week.
Yeah, it's just and again, it all just comes back to this competition thing, and it sucks that's what it is.
Well,
But-
and I think that some of it could be mutated too in a way that it's like, parents that genuinely want what's best for their kids, but then the competitive thing kicks in and kind of twists it into this thing that's, that makes you stab someone at a Macy's.
Yeah, because like the best thing for their kid is not for their kid to get made fun of because they didn't get the iPhone, and now they're making the group chat green like a loser.
Well, yeah,
I
I
never
just
understood that criticism. It's like, oh, your text boxes are this color. I was like, are they? I haven't
genuinely like
noticed.
it's like telling me like something that's irrelevant to me. I'm like, oh, is it?
Oh yeah, tell me about the dream you had last night too. These offer exactly the same amount of weight in my life.
I got offered, well, there was a job that I had really briefly where I was opted into a group chat, and they were like, oh, you're on an Android? And I was like, I am. And they were like, oh, it won't let me add you for some reason because we all have iPhones. And I was like, oh, well, guess I won't be in the work group chat. That's fine. And then one of the girls who was a hostess was like, why don't you just get an iPhone? I was like,
Why don't you just pay $1,000?
I was like, I'm sorry. Yeah. Do you want me to pay $1,000 for this like serving job that
for you to get a blue bubble?
for me to have like the blue bubble instead of just like, no, just somebody separately send me the schedule. That's all that I want. People.
It's terrible.
What
yeah,
a
like
bunch
and
of
that's like
bastards.
my last Christmas working retail was like trying to get somebody an iPhone, and it was the worst. It was I got a call like just before we closed on Christmas Eve, and it was the regional manager was just like, I have a friend. He's trying to get his daughter an iPhone for Christmas.
Fuck you. If you want
Oh,
it done
come
so bad and
on.
you're a regional manager,
And
open the store yourself.
He can't get, he's trying to figure it out. They're trying to, without adding too much to his plan, without whatever. So I optimized the plan basically. Like I was like, give me a half hour, get him to call me or whatever. So I went through his plan. I had all his numbers, whatever. I worked the whole thing out. Buddy calls me, and this is like the store's closed. Everybody else has gone home. It's Christmas Eve. I have family in town. It's like the whole thing. And I'm like one activation or whatever it is away from like my the threshold of commission that's going to be like a bonus and stuff for me for the holidays, right? So like, yeah, I really want this. I'll stick around to do it. And it's also like the regional manager. It's going to look good, like all the things. It's all the check boxes of all the stuff. And so I stick around. I'm going through this. Buddy doesn't call me back in the half hour. He says it's like I think it was an hour and a half before he called me, and I'm just waiting there the whole time. And I'm like calling the owner, being like, "What do I do?" He's like, "Well, the manager really would like to, so if you can stick around." So Buddy finally calls me, and I go through the whole thing with him. I'm like, "Okay, like you don't have an upgrade here, but you do here. So the way you can do this is if you add a line, we can merge this over, we can put this share plan in." And I go through the whole thing with him.
You're describing every nightmare I've had.
Yeah,
I'm
and
literally
so-
watching his soul lose his body.
I know, and
while
so
you're
I go
talking
through the
about
whole thing,
this.
and like it was before I knew I had ADHD, but this is the kind of ADHD I have, where like I was really good at like figuring it all out and doing the whole thing, and so I go through it, get it all for him, and he's just like, and then he's just like, okay, perfect. And at the time I was working out, I was out in the Goulds. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
I was out in the Goulds, and
Outside of city center, those of you not from Newfoundland.
yeah, and so the dude was turns out he was at the corporate store on Aberdeen Drive, literally the other end of town, had me on speakerphone, and the clerk there heard everything while I was doing. It's like, okay, cool, I got that, thanks. And
Are
just like,
So you
you
didn't even get the
kidding
didn't
me?
get sale. Didn't get the sale. He wasn't coming. He got me to do all that. And then the thing is like my regional manager was the regional manager for the kind of like third party independent retailers. So, and this was a corporate store, so none of us got kind of like, even the regional manager didn't get anything.
I think I would set the store on fire.
Yeah, and it was just like, and by this point, it's like we were supposed to close, I think, at noon for Christmas Eve, and this is like 2:00, and I'm just like in a like the lights are off, the door is locked, it is snowing, and I'm like close to tears. Just because I'm just like, I just spent all this time going through all this. I've been like doing whatever. And like, I look and like, I go to like get my coat. And as I take my coat off the hook in the back room, it was over the like board we had with all the like the stickers and stuff to show. And I see that I'm like one slot away from the, like,
my God,
the bonus thing. I'm just like, it broke me. And like, weirdly enough, it turned out it was my last Christmas doing that stuff. By the next, I had kind of started working in film stuff over the next year.
Good.
And then by November, that the owner sold to a different company, and that company wanted to reset commissions and all that stuff. So the way they did it was they had him lay everybody off, and then they were going to hire everybody back the next day so that they could put everybody on 3 months of probation and all. There was going to be no commissions and stuff through Christmas because this was like November.
And no Christmas commission in cell phone sales.
Yeah, it was. They were going to put everybody.
Wow.
They were going to put everybody on like a 3 month probation, back to their original, like back to like minimum wage, like reset everybody. And I just grabbed my layoff slip, and they're like, I took the meeting with them to be like, yeah, so this is what we're doing, and they took my layoff slip from Buddy, and I ran off.
Goodbye.
And started working in film, and that was in November of 2011, and that was my last like retail job. Like I've been working in film and television and doing this sort of thing ever since.
Can I just say that I'm extremely proud of you for handling that and not responding by dressing like a clown and terrorizing Gotham, because like every part of that, and it just kept getting worse, and I thought that it was going to eventually end in you getting like at least a sticker by your name. No,
just pay cuts across the board.
No, it was like within a year all that happened, and it was just like, okay, this is
cool. Burn it all down.
Yeah, and it was just such a like a way to end it and go, okay, cool, this is the last Christmas I have to, like, I'm doing this.
Absolutely.
It turned out, like, in hindsight, it was like, cool, that was my last experience with it. And it was the worst one I had with any of it. Like, you know, I had worked other like
that's
jobs
enough to break someone though. Like
again,
Christmas Eve, you keep them like that's out of a fucking movie.
Yeah,
like ghosts would haunt you. 3 ghosts would
now
show you your shitty past, your awful president, and your destitute
and your
future.
terrifying future.
Yeah, but now I get to go hunt those ghosts. And me and Buddha and Scotty wander around in empty places and try to find the ghosts that are going to hunt Buddy. Like it's
a Christmas
I put him up to it now because I got his number and all the stuff on his cell phone account.
Well, on that note, thank you, listeners, for joining us for another episode of Retails. We want to give a huge thank you to Mike Hickey for helping us make today's episode. Mike, what are you doing? Where can people find you?
As I slightly alluded to, I'm hunting ghosts somehow. So most of what I'm up to these days is Terror Nova related. So Terror Nova started as a book series. I say it so fast now it sounds like Terra Nova and not Terror Nova. But Terror Nova started as a book series, but then became a TV show, and now is a couple TV shows and live events and merch and all kinds of stuff. And it's basically just all of the version of making movies and making TV and writing things and telling stories and trying to share stuff all comes back from a place of just loving ghost stories and wanting to kind of share that sort of thing. And I think Newfoundland is a creepy, fun place that has a great history and has a great culture that kind of really is ideal to use and promote that side of Newfoundland, especially now as, you know, because of relations with other countries, people are traveling more domestically. They're looking for different excuses to go to places and stuff. And so Newfoundland, to share all their weird, creepy things and creepy folklore and creepy history and all this stuff is, I think, a really fun way to kind of get people to engage with all that sort of thing. And so that's what Terra Nova is focused on now. So if you go to terrornova.ca, you can find all of our stuff, our Facebook page, our Instagram, all that, our YouTube with most of our, by the time this is up, I think this our NTV stuff is all on our YouTube page. I think by the time this comes out, our Bell 5 TV1 series should be outside of the exclusivity window and probably coming up on our YouTube page. So a bunch of fun stuff like that. There's lots more coming. We're doing a second season of the show for NTV next year and all that kind of thing.
Very
Amazing.
cool.
Well, great job, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Folks, enjoy your holiday, and remember, if we all haunt a billionaire each, the world become a better place. My name's Mike Hammond,
My name's Sarah Walsh.
and thank you for listening.
Bye.
Have a great day. Goodbye! Well, that was a delightful episode, wasn't it?
What a kettle of fish.
Make sure to join us next time for another episode of Retails. I've been Mike Hammond.
I've been Sarah Walsh.
Good night, everybody. Tell us your tale. Send your own retail to retails.contact@gmail.com. Follow @RetailsPod on social media for episode updates and more. And make sure to fill out your customer feedback card in the comment section. Retails is funded in part by Arts & L and is a production by Right Good Studios.